Alright everyone, today we're talking about cross-site scripting or XSS. One of the most dangerous and common web vulnerabilities that can ruin a website with just a sprinkle of JavaScript. Now, before you get excited, this is not going to be a live demonstration. Why? Because I enjoy not being on a government watch list, and I'd prefer not to do this video from a prison cell. I just don't want to go to jail, mate. So, cross-site scripting or XSS isn't just some obscure vulnerability, it's actually one of the most common and dangerous issues affecting websites today. The scary part is, most people have no idea that a tiny bit of malicious code can turn their site into a hacker's playground, complete with stolen data, fake login forms, and pop-ups that you definitely didn't ask for. But don't worry mate, I got you. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly how XSS works, why it's such a nightmare for websites, and most importantly, how to stop it. Right, let's get into it then. Okay, let's start with the basics. XSS is a vulnerability that allows an attacker to inject malicious scripts, usually JavaScript, into a website. And these scripts are then executed in a browser of anyone who visits the infected page. Right, so picture this, yeah? You pop into a cafe, order a coffee, and instead of sugar, some joker sneaks in chili powder. You take a sip, and then like, boom! It's not even sugar, it's f***ing flaming Nando's grey chili powder. So that, my friend, is XSS. It looks harmless, but it hits harder than your mom's slipper. Alright, to understand how it works, imagine a website that lets users submit comments, and then someone just comes along and decides to leave like this piece of code right here as a comment. Now, if the website doesn't bother sanitizing that comment or that input, it just stores it as it is, exactly as it was typed. So when someone else visits the page, their browser doesn't just like show the comment, it executes the script. And the result is a cheeky little pop-up screaming, hacked. Now, you might be thinking, alright mate, so it's just a pop-up, what's the big deal then? Oh, it's actually a humongous deal. XSS can be used for much worse than just pranks. Like, hackers can actually steal your session cookies, inject malicious codes, or install malwares, even deface websites. And if you ask me, that actually sounds pretty disastrous, I'm not gonna lie to you. Wait mate, hang on a second, you've just listed off a hacker's shopping list like I'm supposed to get it. What does any of that even mean? And hold on, why would anyone even steal cookies? What's this? Cybercrime or some kind of digital biscuit robbery? Nah, hold on mate, let me just explain, yeah, before you start calling the biscuit police. So, when I say cookies, I don't mean the edible ones that you sneak at 3 AM. I'm talking about browser cookies, right? Like, it's like small chunks of data that websites use to remember who you are, your session ID, your login state, preferences, yeah? All that boring but important stuff. Cookies are small bits of data stored by your browser, and they can store login details, preferences, and other information to make browsing more efficient. So, if an attacker can inject a malicious code via XSS cross-site scripting, they can get your session cookies. These cookies hold your session information, which is how the website knows you're logged in. So, by stealing these, an attacker can impersonate you on the site without needing your password, essentially hijacking your account. Right, I think that's quite enough talk about cookies, yeah? Let's move on to injecting malicious codes. A malicious code is a piece of software that's designed to disrupt, damage, or compromise systems. However, in the case of XSS attacks, attackers can inject malicious JavaScript into trusted websites, which can redirect users to phishing pages or trigger other harmful actions. And by saying phishing, I don't mean catching fish. I'm talking about attackers trying to catch your personal data. But don't worry about it, we'll explain how it works in the upcoming videos. Alright, so let's move to installing malwares and deface websites. So, when it comes to installing malware, attackers use XSS to inject scripts that silently download and install malware when users visit a compromised site. And defacing websites, attackers can exploit XSS vulnerabilities to modify a site's content, injecting inappropriate text, images, or scripts that damage the website's reputation and credibility. Now let's talk about the 3 main types of XSS, like different flavors of trouble. Hang on a second, 3 types? I thought XSS was one of those sprinkle some code and call it a day drops. You're telling me there's a trail? What's this? A version control system? Am I supposed to branch out now? Oh my god, look at this guy again. Always interrupting me when I'm just getting started. What's next, mate? XSS DLC Packs Limited Edition? You see what I have to deal with here? Every time I try to explain something, he pops in like he thinks we're discovering new planets or something. Anyway, as I was trying to say before, there are 3 types of XSS, and each one is just a different flavor of headache. Let's break them down. So first we've got stored XSS. This one's the most dangerous one because the malicious script is permanently stored on the server, usually in a database, and it runs whenever a user visits the infected page. This is what happened with the comments earlier. Right, next one, reflected XSS. This type bounces the malicious script off a web server, usually through a URL or a search query. Once you click a suspicious link, boom, the script runs right away. Alright, last we've got DOM-based XSS. The server's perfectly fine, right? No issues there, but the real trouble starts with how the browser handles the content of the site. You see, when JavaScript starts changing the page structure, that's where things can get messy, yeah? And they're like, attackers can take advantage of this. They can sneak in malicious code and make the website execute harmful actions directly on the user's end. Righty, so let's talk solutions, yeah? To stop XSS, you need to clean and sanitize your inputs, and you need to escape your outputs. You need to set a content security policy and avoid risky functions like inner HTML. And let modern frameworks handle the heavy lifting. Cross-site scripting is sneaky, dangerous, and way more common than it should be. But now that you know what it is, and how it works, and how to stop it, you're already ahead of the game. So that's cross-site scripting, guys. If you found this video informative, don't forget to like and subscribe for more tech insights. Peace!